I don't really know how to do this, so I'm just going to start. I want to show you something that I learned from a student. It just takes a square piece of paper and you have to start folding it accordion style in one direction. I'm going to have to make a kind of a simple one. I haven't made them in a long time, but I'm hoping that I can do this okay. And while I'm making this, I'm going to tell you a little story. So I'm a teacher. I teach math and science at the middle and high school level. I've been a teacher since, I started substituting in 2011, and I got a part-time job fall of 2011 into the spring of 2012, and I was hired full-time in fall of 2012, and I've been a full-time teacher ever since. So depending on how you want to count my substituting in 2011 or my part-time employment, my first year, I've been teaching more than 10 years. And my first teaching job was at a Christian school. They had just started. There had been some rift with the administration at one school that had caused some of the administrators to part ways. They still had a vision for a school, and so the opportunity materialized and a school was born. So as you can see, I've folded it accordion style in one direction. Now what I need to do is turn it 90 degrees and fold it accordion style in this direction. Anyway, so this school is brand new, had some loyal teachers from the old one that followed, but you know, as things are when they're starting out, it's not an awful lot, and so they kind of had to make do. And so I, fresh out of college, a year out of college, no teaching certification, just a science degree, no experience except for substituting, was hired as a part-time teacher because they were old church friends. It's who you know, not what you know sometimes. And that was a really great opportunity for me. It was how I learned how to be a teacher, by teaching. I had a low course load, lots of guidance. It was pretty nice. And it was the first time that I was working on a regular basis with students. And wow, like, young people are awesome. I really just love like teenagers. They are so cool. They're like, they're smart and like wickedly funny. And you know, while they're certainly childish sometimes, after all they are children, they can have moments of really like sublime like maturity, just like little flashes of the adult that they're going to be one day. And I think that intergenerational communities and learning environments are really great, because it's not just the old ones teaching the young ones. I learned a lot from my students too. In particular, this. You see, this was something that one of my students taught me how to do. I didn't teach geometry my first year. That's right. I think I had this student in biology. Might have been, no, it was chemistry. It was chemistry. That's where I had them, and they were smart and creative. And one day I saw this curious paper shape that I recognized from when I was in calculus. I thought that looks like a paraboloid, but one with a saddle point. You know, I would say, you know, one that's like Pringle shaped, one where it's concave up in one direction, but let's see here, concave down perpendicular to it, so it kind of forms a saddle. and it was made out of paper. And I thought, well, that looks like calculus too. What is that doing in a high school? And just kind of analyzing it, I'm like, oh, okay, I see. So if you fold this paper in two different directions, you're essentially contracting a plane, and that means that it curls in some sort of, I figured it must have been optimizing, like some sort of optimization curve or something. And so I asked, no, who made that? And it was a student who showed me how to do it. Now that you've got this kind of like checkerboard shape, what you need to do are find ridges, right? Like here's like a mountain and a valley. Find ridges that are in the same direction that intersect each other. So for example, here's a mountain that I folded that way. Here's a mountain that I folded that way. So they must both be mountains together, right? So they're perpendicular mountains. They need to intersect there. And then here's this view is awkward. Two valleys. So just make sure, right? So it kind of like forms that corner in the way that it folds. Anyway, so the student's making this shape, and I'm like, oh wow, show me how to do that. And they did. It's really easy to follow the grid if you use graph paper. Unfortunately, I don't have any on hand right now, so I kind of have to do that in every corner. Right? Hopefully the shadow's showing you what I'm doing there. Well, this student was also kind of troubled, and I'm being deliberately vague with my descriptions of the student because I don't want to, it's not, I'm going to be careful with personal details. This student had a sister who was also at the school, and I would hear some things about how things were at home, and sometimes they'd talk about personal stuff, and they really did not get along well with their parents. And obviously that's a shame in any case, but it seemed like it was kind of bad. Like, I don't know if they were being locked in their rooms sometimes or what, but it really terrible relationship with their parents. Now folded things along in the corner, and if I kind of flex that, I didn't make this one too terribly well. Let me see if I can bring out this shape a little bit better. I'm gonna do him proud. Okay, anyway, might look a bit like that. If I had more folds, it would be smoother, but hopefully you can see how it's got that saddle shape like that. Well, anyway, boy, I really wish I had made one that was a little bit more impressive, but I think this will just have to do. So, being a teacher with a student, who's got a less than ideal home life, I can't get personally involved, but I can try to be helpful. I can give general, safe advice, just kind of like an older person with a little bit of experience, or just an outside perspective, and they were receptive, and that was good. I really enjoyed having them as a student. And then after their sister graduated, I didn't see them anymore. They were younger. They could have continued attending, but they didn't. And people come and go, and I just didn't think anything of it. But then I heard some students say that actually their home life had deteriorated a lot more because they had been thrown out of their house, because they had transitioned, and that A lot of the conflict in the house probably stemmed from that. This was a Christian school, and while the official position of the administration is totally irrelevant. I don't know why I'm holding this. I'm just fiddling with stuff on my desk. Well, the official position of the administration is irrelevant because this is like a home issue. That was a family that would send their kids to a Christian school. And I honestly just kind of felt shocked because I was still pretty young. I was in my mid-20s, and I didn't have a whole lot of experience outside of my Christian bubble. And I also just remembered how bright that student was, and how I felt bad for them that they were having a hard time at home, but I was helpless to do anything about it. And I've always wondered if they're okay. I know that it is rough for trans people generally. And it is even worse when there is not a supportive person at home. And it is even worse when your home rejects you. I really hope that they're okay. And I think about them from time to time. I haven't seen them in 10 years. I don't even know if they're alive. But I feel like I need to apologize. I, didn't do much bad personally, and, it's not like there was even anything I could do. I don't feel like any, responsibility for someone else's home life. I mean that I was playing a part in a system that was friendly to some and hostile to others. And over the years, as I gained experience and confidence, I felt like I had an opportunity and a capability to push some envelopes or take some stands, but I still felt like I had to play it safe because, this wasn't just some job where I have to meet performance quotas. This was a faith community that I had to toe a line in accordance with a faith statement, and I had to keep within certain, I guess you could say, conservative boundaries, or I would get a target on my back. And I had imposter syndrome. I was very underqualified for my job, and I had barely any experience, and I was also a newlywed, and I was trying to keep my life together, and so I had to play along with Christian school. But even then, I was a true believer. I didn't know all of the implications and social effects of a lot of the beliefs that I held because I just wasn't out in the world with them. I was at home and in church and in school with them. And, this broadens out to all kinds of things. Like, I tried to be as honest as I could the more I learned about the age of the earth and how evolution works and stuff. And, that was my focus a lot of the time because I was a science teacher. But like in terms of personal things, I don't know who I was letting down. Just by being complicit in a system that was letting people fall through the cracks or even pushing them over the edge. I'm really sorry. And while I've been really vague with the details about this person that I've been talking about, the only name that I remember them having may not be their name, and I don't want to speak it. Wherever you are, I hope you're okay. I hope you found people who love you, and I hope you made it. And thank you.